Hey folks, Carl Kishel here, and welcome to this week's edition of the Microsoft Cloud News Update. Researching the cloud blog so you don't have to. This week we have a couple of exciting announcements regarding Windows 365, a new program to help you migrate your Azure applications into the Azure platform, connectivity at scale with Azure Bastion, and how to use that service to do secure and manage RDP connections into your Azure platform, the Azure Well Architected Framework update, and much more. So with that, let's jump into it. Links to the updates that I'll be covering this week can be found in the description of the video. So our first update here, accelerating Azure migrations with a program. It used to be called AMP. You may have heard of this. This has been around Microsoft for a long time, AMP, the Azure Migration Program. It's now called the Azure Migration and Modernization Program, AMMP. Very similar to last year's program, according to the text here, but it does increase some of the scenarios that the AMP program covered last year in terms of migrating applications, and also some of the data and back-end infrastructure that may be required for your applications to be migrated over to Azure. So the AMP program is more than just a series of tools and guidance, etc. If you click on the link to learn more info, I'll show you what that looks like here. You'll drop here to the landing page, to the actual program itself. If you click on Join Program, you have an opportunity here to nominate yourself for the program. And yes, Microsoft, if you qualify, will provide funding for your migration of applications and infrastructure into the Azure platform. So if you are looking at modernizing your current state of applications or a particular application, if you have a use case in mind, etc., feel free to fill out this form and see if you qualify for funding for this program. Managing remote desktop and SSH connectivity with Azure Bastion. So Azure Bastion is a new service that allows you to manage incoming RDP and SSH sessions into your Azure environment at scale. So basically you have a portal which will help you manage and secure your incoming RDP and SSH connections into your target VMs, allows you to wrap some security around that, tie it into Azure Active Directory, etc., apply policies, and so on. So a lot of new features and functionality here to enable remote access to your virtual machines in a secure way. And if you're looking for a tool to kind of manage the overall RDP experience and SSH experience into your virtual machines, check out Azure Bastion. Currently, there's a limited preview for Azure Data Lake Storage migration from Gen 1 to Gen 2. You may be aware of Gen 1 Data Lake Storage, which will be retired on February 29th, 2024, so a couple years out. But Gen 2 brings a bunch of new infrastructure and capabilities over Gen 1. So click on the links for more info. A lot of this info is around performance, and these enhancements also around security. But this limited preview grants you access to the tool. The tool will be widely available, I would guess, by the end of the calendar year. You can do these migrations on your own. Getting started with Windows 365. So this was the big news last week regarding Cloud PC and Windows 365. This blog post gets into a really nice detail in terms of what Windows 365 is and some of the capabilities. So a lot of you are familiar with cloud-based VDI deployments. And for sure, there's been a history of VDI, cloud-based VDI with Azure, with both Windows Virtual Desktop, which is now known as Azure Virtual Desktop. So Windows 365 leverages those platforms and technologies on Azure to give you a VDI experience for Windows Client, but also gives you the management facilities and capabilities to procure, provision, and deploy these Windows 365 environments to your end user virtually on any device, to do the custom tailoring, application deployment, and experiences that are needed to do large scale, quote unquote, VDI. There's also integration with Endpoint Manager, which helps with security around antivirus, anti-malware, option to do image gallery and deployment of customized images, and so on. So a lot of the details on how to get started with the platform and what the platform does is in this blog post. In addition to the Windows 365 announcements, wanted to call your attention to this particular post on getting started and delivering Azure Virtual Desktops and Windows 365, and some opportunities here to attend a live Q&A session, which will be coming out later in July, so mid-July, with these two sessions. So at the recording of this particular blog post, so the live session has already been recorded, but you can access these on demand. They're the Ask the Experts session and also the breakout sessions to learn more about Windows 365 and connecting this to the hybrid workplace. Next announcement here regarding extended security updates on Azure for both Windows Server 2012 and SQL Server 2012. This includes R2 as well. So you may know that Windows 2012 end of extended security will be, actually it's coming to an end on January 10th, 2023. You have an option of purchasing the extended security support updates, if you like, through your reseller. However, if you migrate the servers into Azure, those ESUs are included at no cost. Watchlist now generally available for Azure Sentinel. So if you're familiar with Azure Sentinel, that is Microsoft's SIEM solution. It's cloud-based, a cloud-native application to collect security reports, incidences, and do real-time monitoring of your environment for bad actors, security vulnerabilities, actions, issues, etc. So the watch list feature has been in preview for some time. It's now GA. And this provides you with the capability to collect data from other sources and import it into the Azure Sentinel workspace so you can do data correlation. So for those systems perhaps where Sentinel does not monitor or manage, or maybe they are ultra secure or strictly on premises, you can now collect maybe log data from those systems or other type of data, put it into the Sentinel workspace, and leverage the power of the Azure Sentinel AI engine to do that correlation for you to enhance security in your environment. And lastly, this last update is Inside Azure for IT and Ask the Product Experts session. This is for next week, July 27th. And there's also an option here for those of you running SAP or interested in running SAP on Azure for August 17th. So these two sessions, it's always great to be able to mix and mingle and hear from Microsoft program managers, product managers, and folks kind of beyond the field here and into the product groups. They get a more of an intimate experience on how Microsoft technologies work. So again, this first session here, July 27th, 3 p.m. Pacific, live with the Azure Virtual Desktop experts. This will give you a chance to interact with the Azure VD experts and ask your questions and learn more about deployment best practices and how the technology works. So highly recommend that if you're interested in cloud-based VDI. And then the second session in August, middle of August, August 17th, if you're interested in running SAP on Azure, that's something definitely to check out as well. That concludes this edition of the Microsoft Cloud News Update. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you also like to be notified, hit the notification bell. You have to subscribe first, so subscribe, hit the notification bell. We do these about once a week and try to give you all the latest news that's usually buried within the Microsoft blogs, roadmap, websites, etc. If you have any feedback, feel free to pass that on. Look at all the comments, so you can do the comment section in the YouTube videos, or also you can reach out to me on either Twitter or LinkedIn at Carl Kishel. So with that, thank you so much for your time this week. I wish you well, and we will catch you next time. Take care.